is ubiquitous in our lives as women and genderqueer and trans folks, right? Like, has anybody here, I'm here specifically to talk about being a fat person and the fat acceptance movement, and then right? Cheer for me, I'm fat. I'm fat, let's party.
And that's sucking in.
No, fuck that. No. Also, okay, so here's me like now, right? Look at me, I'm beautiful. Here's me sucking in.
Oh, wow.
Pretty much the same thing, right? Like my boobs are still here, you can still see my head, you know, like I'm still fat. I am fat.
Objectify you.
Oh, bring it, sister. So, I have a few things to say about the fat acceptance movement, and then we're going to do an exercise where folks can talk about their own bodies, and of course, passing will always be allowed, but you can say a few things about where you're at with your own journey. So, I've accepted that I'm fat since I was forever. I was a fat child, and started calling myself fat in my early 20s. But I've only recently, within the last couple of years, taken on what I see as a radical identity of being a fat person and saying fat as the word that describes my body. Is there anybody who has felt that your body is too big or that some part of your body is too big? Yes. How many people have felt that? That would be everybody.
Except for her.
Okay. Pardon me. Your journey is also honorable, and whatever you're working on, great. But all of us have had at some point, some moment when some part of our body wasn't good enough, right?
Right, yes.
And so much of that came from other people. So much of that came from the world around us and the images that were shown, of course, and that's why we're here today. But how much of it comes from within and how much we continue to generate for ourselves is the part that I want to help us interrupt, right? Because we keep putting this shit back on ourselves. We keep basting ourselves in the same images, in the same expectations, and let's see what we can do to kind of break that stuff down. So, first of all, the couple things about fat acceptance, I want to say that fat pride exists.
Nice.
Right? There is a growing number of folks, and a lot of folks are political queers. I gotta say, there's a real sort of generative part of the movement that is about political queers, who are saying, like, yeah, my body's bigger than other people's bodies. My body's in fact bigger than doctors think it should be. My body's bigger certainly than fashion thinks it should be, because they don't make clothes for me. So, my body's a little bit bigger than other people's. Does that mean that I am morally not as upright as other people? Does that mean I am less worthy of love? Does that mean I am not attractive? No, it doesn't. I'm telling you, I'm reading it. No, it doesn't.
No.
Does it mean that I'm not healthy? Does it mean that I'm going to die of a heart attack in 15 minutes? All of those assumptions. Even doesn't mean, like, am I especially jolly? Am I, right? Because who are our fat heroes? Santa Claus? We got him. There's one pinup girl. She's so cute. Hilda. And Honey Boo Boo. I mean, really, who are our fat heroes? Right? Chris Christie doesn't count. Santa Claus, I feel like, is an awesome, I mean, generous, right? Always giving, loving, about the spirit of Christmas. Okay, so those assumptions all go along with fat bodies. And all it means to be fat is that I have a bigger body than other people do. There's a higher percentage of it that's made of adipose tissue, that's made of fat tissue. It means I float better in a swimming pool. It means I prefer clothes that have a little stretch to them. They're more comfortable for me. But it doesn't have implications about who I am as a person or how worthy I am of love. And those things are, that message is so insidious that it's really, really difficult to shake off. Right? So give yourself a second right now. Like all those fat feelings that you might have had in your life, just give yourself a second to kind of weld those up. And then I want you to shake them off. Right? Shake them off. Shake it all out of you. Shake your fat body. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so you're done with that now, right? Right, so this is an ongoing process. How do you know if you are a fat person? Right? Tricky. I've had some mid-sized friends say, you know, I'm interested in the fat acceptance movement, I'm interested in being part of Fat Pride, but I'm not sure I'm actually fat. Well, you know, everybody must say for her or himself. Like, this is certainly a self-generated identity. I can give you some markers. If you regularly are shamed by strangers, especially when eating in public.
Yes.
You're fat.
Yes.
If you regularly have a hard time getting good health care and are constantly reminded by doctors that you're going to die because of your death fat,
Wow.
you're fat. I asked if I could share this story. My partner, Tori, who's so gorgeous, was denied health care a couple of years ago. She's right there in the blue. Was denied health insurance a few years ago because her BMI was a couple of points higher than the scale said it was supposed to be.
Wow.
BMI is bullshit. It's a made-up, meaningless number that has nothing to do with how healthy somebody actually is.
Maybe you should explain BMI.
So,
Body mass.
Thank you very much.
I don't actually know what it stands for.
Body mass index.
Wow, people had some experiences with BMI.
Right.
So BMI is a measurement based on like certain. Have you all had these tests? Yeah. It's based on a chart. It doesn't have anything to do with physical activity, family history, nutrition, medication, other conditions, disabilities. It doesn't have anything to do with anything except for that chart.
It was made in 1926 by a dude who only lived a dude.
Oh my.
Wow.
Look at that. Bring it.
Right, and I had a physical, I don't know, a conditioning exercise thing where she measured mine and went, oh, well, you know, it's off a little bit because yours couldn't be because of the muscle cement, whatever. But she basically just said, I'm a health expert and that number's not you.
Right?
Thank you.
There's some great stuff online where there are pictures of people, like this person is considered obese according to the BMI. This person is considered overweight. This person is considered slightly overweight. This person is considered underweight. And they all look the same.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
It's not really a measure of health, but it's still used by both health insurance companies and also by doctors to guide how to give you good care.
And people
So-
pulling drugs.
Oh yeah, right? There's a lot of money to be made off of BMI because one of the biggest producers of income in our nation is the weight loss industry. The weight loss industry is designed to make you hate yourself. That's the whole purpose. You are not good enough and you need to be different. Here, take our plan, join our thing, eat our food, don't have peanuts or bread or whatever, and you're going to be beautiful and perfect, right? The thing is that diets don't work for 95% of people. What they do is change the set point of your weight so that when you gain that weight back, and 95% of people will, you're going to weigh more than you did when you started. And what is actually dangerous for your health is not being a bigger body. It's moving your weight up and down, fluctuating, and messing with your nutrition to the point that your bones and your body don't have what they need to survive. So all of that information is included in a philosophy called health at every size. Who's heard about that? Yeah, look it up. So it's HAES, health at every size, and it's meant to be like whatever body you're in is not a bad body. It's not a broken body. It's not a body that's not okay. It's all bodies are good bodies. You're the one in the one you're in. How can you, from this point, make your life work as well as it can within the package you're given? So it looks at things like fitness, nutrition, self-love, social support, eating things that give you pleasure. These are all really important parts of a healthy life. And this is another way to do that. So just a couple of tips for folks who don't identify as fat. So so we talked about it's maybe hard to find clothes if you're fat. It may be hard to find, like, certainly Abercrombie doesn't like go over like a size 8 or something, right? But even in like bigger stores like Lame Giant, yeah. That's another day. Or, you know, like places that serve bigger people still may not have sizes that fit everybody. So there are folks that are, it's all a spectrum, right? Like, so there are folks that are fat like me, but I'm not super size where I have a difficult time moving around in the world, right? Like, I can get on an airplane, I don't need to buy 2 seats, even though it's very uncomfortable to fly. It's just uncomfortable. It doesn't actually mean that I have to spend a lot more money and go through a lot more hassle. If you need a seatbelt extender when you go on a plane, if you need to buy clothes from a store that doesn't exist in brick and mortar anywhere, those are some signs that you might be somebody who's supersized. And then, that's a whole other world where allies are incredibly important. Because fat folks are constantly getting shamed, right? All the time, about how we're supposed to be and how we're not measuring up to that. What smaller folks can do is interrupt that, because you're hearing it more than I am. It's very rude for somebody to come up and be like, "You're so fat, you shouldn't exist." Although it's happened, but mostly not. They may be able to say things around like, "Oh my God, did you see she's having a cupcake?" or whatever. You know, you may hear fat-shaming comments from other people around you because you're a smaller person. You have an opportunity to be an infiltrator and interrupt that shit, right? Nobody deserves to be called out like that. Like, why is it your business what she's eating? Right? Looks like it tastes good. You know, I think that that's really a fat-shaming comment, and I'm not down with that. You know, like, however you use, interrupt that kind of language.
How about why you a bitch right now?
So why do you have to be such a bitch? I'm just saying.
You might only be able to get away with that if it's femme to femme speaking, because we were reclaiming bitch. Maybe if you want to reclaim, not everyone's reclaimed it, but you know, the same.
Okay, so why do you have to be evil right now?
Douche? How about a douche?
Yeah, because that is bad. Bad for women. Yeah. Okay.
Don't douche, it's good.
Okay.
Women's health.
No, that's gender specific sometimes. I don't know. I'm really PC. I can't handle that. Can't handle
make a
that.
stash and have like
I'll keep
fat.
y'all posted. I'm gonna just go with asshole and put it all in.
Everyone's got
Got
one.
an asshole.
Yep, everyone's got one. I like that.
I'm gonna get like a fat merit badge sash that says like broke a chair, shamed by doctor, ripped your pants. There's a list of these things that you don't really have. Okay, so the other thing that you can do is interrupt the assumption that people would like to be thinner, which is everywhere once you start listening for it. Right? Right, well, I had mono, but at least I lost a little weight. Well, that sounds really fucked up to me, actually. It sounds like you were sick. Or this, well, you know, I'll put you on this medication, it has a side effect, you might lose a little weight. Okay, well, why are you assuming that that's something that's desirable for me? There are lots of weight loss, many jobs that I've had, even many feminist jobs I've had. There are weight loss clubs as part of the workplace. And I don't think that it's a bad thing to have a body project. If you're somebody who wants to improve some part of your fitness and it feels like eating and exercising are part of that for you, great. Keep it to yourself, however. Like, keep it at least among the people that are close to you and are caring about that part of you, rather than making that part of the wall at work. Where we're, like, have you ever seen this before? Where there's like a weight loss, like, thermometer and we're seeing how many pounds we lost together? Or there's a competition, or just different ways to try it and continue to encourage people to lose weight as a sign of health. Do whatever you can to separate the idea that weight and health are synonymous. You know? And once you start listening for it, you'll hear it everywhere. It's like, oh my gosh, this is so pervasive. So let me see if there's a couple other things. It's a good idea, actually, to end making comments about other people's bodies in general. Never, ever ask someone if she is pregnant or when she is due. Because even if it's obvious, it's not your business. And if she's not pregnant, you're an asshole. Don't be that person. But it's a good idea not to comment on people's size in general. Even if you have a friend who's lost some weight, you can say like, hey, so seems like maybe things are changing in your life. How's it going? Or some other way to do that than pointing out like, ooh, look at your thighs.
You get a new haircut.
I get asked that. I get asked if I lost weight every time I dye my hair. Because it's, I have appreciation for it. It's not meant to be mean. It's meant to be like, I see you. I see that something is looking great about you. It's probably going to be a compliment to you that if I ask you if you lost weight, I'm going to go ahead with that one. For me, I just like, do I look sick? I'm sorry. Am I really pale? I didn't do it on purpose. I hope I'm not losing weight. So yeah, stop fat talk from yourself and from other people who do not identify as fat in any like politicized identity. Does that make sense? So folks are like, oh my God, I'm being so bad right now. My thighs are so fat.
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to break that down a little bit. You're not bad for eating. It's really okay for you to eat whatever is pleasurable to you. If you don't want to, that's your decision. But putting that on fat is really fat shaming in a way that's not okay around me. You know? Interrupt.
Show it off.
And then, and notice. The best thing that you can do is bring up your own awareness. about what it's like to move through the world as somebody who's different, in a different body than you are, right? So how might this not be accessible to somebody who's fat? How might this not be accessible to somebody who's using a wheelchair or a scooter or has a hard time with steps or whatever? So when you're doing organizing work and you're figuring out venues, certainly that's going to be part of it. Make sure there are some weight-rated chairs so that if fat people do come to your event, they can sit down. Many of us like sitting. And don't have to be worried about what that creak is and if that's going to be okay. If you're in a shop where you're looking for clothes and you don't see any plus sizes, go and ask at the counter if they have any plus sizes. Just to bring up the idea that, hey, I have a friend who would look really great in this dress, but I don't know if she can shop here. Do you have plus sizes? You might want to get plus sizes. I bet you do really well. You know, just try and up your own awareness about what fat shaming, fat phobia, and anti-fat feelings are like in our world. All right, so do other fat folks want to weigh in and say anything to add to that?
To piggyback on your the fitness thing, my best friend was really big, and she started watching things. The last person in the world I thought would actually start doing healthy things. She was diagnosed with cardiomyopathy. So we thought, okay, that would make her start doing something. It didn't. She did it on her own, and she actually watched a documentary that says it shows a lot of the diet foods that everybody's like, oh, flock and get all the diet foods. They're actually not meant to help you lose weight. They actually have compounds in it that make you addicted to the diet food, and they actually help you to gain more weight than you're trying to lose. So you may lose some quick weight, which is usually fluid, and if it's that time of the month, then you're going to have fluid, and then when that time is over, that's going to make you lose. But it's actually not meant to help you lose anything. It's meant to keep you addicted to it. So, you know,
Fuck that.
Eat healthy, just do that. Learn to eat healthy, learn your portions, and do portion control yourself. You're actually paying somebody to make you addicted to food.
Wow. And I'm addicted enough.
One of the things I walk around with a lot of anger about, a place that I'm still really working on in my life, is that I feel, because I was a fat kid, because I've always been a fat person, that movement has really been shamed for me long enough that I don't want to do it anymore, that it has triggers, and it pisses me the fuck off that what I could do got blocked by what I couldn't do. If I couldn't keep up with other kids running the track, there was no alternative to that. There was no, you know, those early shaming experiences are really big. So joyful movement and finding ways to reclaim movement in life is our birthright. We're allowed to have joyful movement in our bodies the way they are right now. Right. Joyful movement, right?
So can I ask
Woo!
so you're saying that, like, so if you thought about getting out and going for a walk around your neighborhood today, or going to the track and walking around, you might not do it for fear of what people think when they see you walking around, or how that's been like, oh, you need to be moving, or you need to be, that like hinders you from actually doing it because of all of the shit attached to a fat person walking like they want to, oh, good for you, yes, it's about time. Like,
what I'm concerned about, if I were, that's totally astute. If I were considering going for doing something that's a little bit more like visible, like if I was going to try and run in a sports bra, things that would stop me from doing that are that people do make mean comments.
That's right.
Like outright, like, you're fat. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
That's street harassment, y'all.
Already knew.
That is street harassment.
So there's that, and then people also make what they feel like, or what they probably intend as nice comments that are still like just pointing out that I'm not right somehow, that I'm not, my imperfections are in the world. Good for you, sweetheart. Okay, I'm late for the bus. I'm not making an effort in my life to change things. I gotta catch that thing, or else I'm not gonna get to my point. Yeah, right. Like it just makes assumptions and makes comments on who I am. The other part that worries me, or that would be a barrier, is that I grew up with enough of that enough times that it's inside of me. And so I have to push through that stuff in order to just go out and be in my body in a way that's okay. Right. And I've done a lot of that work, but it's always a process.
I see that.
Two things. One, I was just reading this great study about how much your attitude affects how you lose weight. Like they had talked to these maids, basically, who are doing a lot of work. You know, I clean houses, hard work, and they were doing this all day, every day. And they asked them, and they said, I don't exercise. But when they, you know, showed them how much exercise they were getting and broke it down for them, and that this is legitimate and this counts, they actually started losing weight because their attitude had changed about the way they move in their body.
Interesting.
So it's really significant. Like, people are like, you know, I don't exercise, but they walk to work, they walk to the metro, they ride their bike on, you know, on the weekends, but they like have this really compartmentalized, really, you know, specific idea of what exercise is. Everything is exercise. Everything is exercise. Gardening is exercise. Going up down the stairs is exercise.
Especially sex.
Housework is exercise. What?
Especially sex.
Sex is exercise. I mean, sometimes you just, you know.